don't let that be it. Don't let that be it. Because we have a choice to make when we put ourselves out there and come up short. Yeah. We're all going to come up short. When we put ourselves out there, we really want something. I really want this. And I come up short, it's terrible. It's devastating, right? And we have a choice. Am I going to now not put myself out there anymore, so if I lose, it's not a big deal?
Yeah.
Or am I going to realize, that's it. Okay, this was devastating. This sucked, but that's it. I can now keep putting myself out there because I can deal with this. I can do this. And the happiness and joy I feel from accomplishing my goals trumps this. So I'd say that suffering you feel is it is what you make it.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
All right, can we just dive in? Let's dive in. What do you remember most about your childhood, like as far back as you can?
Just being around a big family. Where I'm from is a small community, South Lafourche, Louisiana, Cutoff, Larose, Galliano. And we had a big family of, it's just me and my mom, my dad, and my sister, and then we have an adopted brother, but big extended family, cousins and aunts and uncles, and it was always just everyone together at all times. So it's the biggest memories I have is just everything we did was just, I might as well have had, a dozen brothers and sisters because it was all so close.
I can relate to that. Yeah, I had a big family as well, which is really cool to experience, man.
Yeah.
I think it takes a tribe to raise a fucking person, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess from what you have accomplished now, okay, which is a good foundation, good empire. Where do you think the roots of that were? If you ever thought,
man, I gotta go back to that family with especially my parents. Just so much support. I never had any doubt that I would be able to do whatever I wanted to do. That was always instilled in me from my parents. That if I wanted to do something, I can accomplish it. I can do it. We had some pretty humble beginnings. Poor, very small home. Shared a room with my sister until I was 17. But even with that, I just don't remember ever having a doubt that one day I would be able to do whatever it is that I wanted to do. So that I'd say I have to give pretty much all the credit to my mother and father.
Nice. And that's where that discipline comes in, dedication, drive.
Yeah, they were always very big on discipline, respect. Yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Respect your elders.
Where would you say your so we're going from childhood and we're growing up now, right? What would you say your first obstacle of life that you had to deal with on your own?
On my own, I think I think moving out, when I was 17 when I moved out to go to college and whatnot, and that was when I got away from that big family backing and whatnot, and reality kind of hit that although my family still to this day supports me with every, bit of fiber of their being, it was up to me now. So while it was good that I had that support and all, then it kind of got thrown into a situation to where you have your support, they love you and they're going to be here for you, but it's up to you now, boy. You got to figure this out. Guys, y'all watch out real quick. Yeah. You can edit that out, or?
Yeah, it's cool. I like it.
Okay. So that, I think, there's a ton more obstacles before that, just little obstacles in life. But I'd say, as a man and growing up into that transitional period in life was getting out on my own, even though I had the help from my family and whatnot. Reality setting in that, hey, you're gonna have to figure this shit out.
That's early too, 17, 18. That's a little early, man. To kind of get in there.
And it did. It was rocky. It was rocky. College was I was a good student in high school and whatnot, but it was just different. It was a challenge for me to motivate myself.
Nice.
But it was good obstacles. It was the obstacles that I went through that prepared me to go through the next set of obstacles that I ran into.
What got you into MMA at a young age, or jiu-jitsu, I guess?
So I'd always. I'd say another thing, I'd go take a step back, besides my family supporting me, a thing that helped me get to where I am is I was always involved in athletics.
Okay.
Always competing, multiple sports. so that was there. The root of of competition was always there. I was always looking to compete in anything I could get my hands on, from football, baseball, basketball, volleyball, anything. Then I had a taekwondo background when I was a kid. Got away from martial arts as I got older, went more to team sports, and then as I got older, the UFC became a thing.
Oh, okay.
Classic story. Watch UFC 1 and like, hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like this stuff. And then when the Ultimate Fighter came around with that famous Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner fight, me and a roommate like kind of got hooked, and then became fans. And then that competitive drive kind of came back, and I'm like, I can do this. So we started training jiu-jitsu in our front yard a few blocks away from here.
In the grass?
Yeah, in the grass, out of a book, out of a Eddie Bravo rubber guard book, me and Hunter.
Yeah.
And one day our friend came over, saw us doing it, and he had been training. He was like almost a blue belt at that point. He's like, hey, go to a gym. And that's where I went to where we met, and I went over to Noah BJJ, those guys on Magazine, great academy out there. And then it just, I feel like from the first day I stepped on the mats there, I just knew, like, this is what I'm going to do. This is it. Quit my job, quit school, quit everything.
Well, see, I met you when you were competing. I think I saw that drive, man, and that's why I love we're doing this together. Because I'm diving deeper. Okay, started jiu-jitsu, started competing. When did you find that? Hey, I have something inside me that keeps fucking fighting.
Man, it came from like just the comings and goings of training, I think, and just I'd never really had anything that kept my attention and kept passion that strong in me my entire life. Like I said earlier, I always had things I wanted to compete in, but this and that and this and that. But I would get, and even like I was an artist and I'd do art competitions and blah blah blah, and I would get good at something, or to a level at something of competence, and lose interest.
Yes.
Lose interest. I just couldn't find anything that would hold me, and just the years of training, not even years, like within the first like few months of training, it was like I never really felt any of this way about anything before in my life. Nothing ever made me feel this way. Nothing ever challenged me this way. And then it never went away. It only got stronger. And when it really cemented was when I started having adversity. I'm not a great loser, right? I'm not a great loser. And I'd lost a couple of my, first competitions, and I was, devastated or whatever, but it didn't deter me. It only made it stronger.
Yes.
Like, I just made me want to be.
Your weakness.
Yes.
Rather than.
Yeah. I'd never had anything like that in my life, and it changed me as a person completely. I am a shadow of who I was growing up before I found martial arts like this.
And that's what you started doing jiu-jitsu, started competing, you started fighting professionally. What did you take away from that? The getting in the cage and having that full mixed martial arts.
Man, it was just so humbling. It was so humbling just to realize what's out there. And like, we all have this idea of what we would do in certain situations and have an idea of how certain things would feel, and then to be in there and like have just reality kind of like just zero in on you, and it's like, wow, this is like what it really feels like when you see these people doing this. This is insane. This is insane. It made me have so much respect for not only fighters but athletes that compete at a high level. Like, as children and as adults, we see things on TV and movies or watch other athletes compete and whatnot, and we have an idea like what we would do, we can imagine, but when you're in there, it's like, this is not at all what I thought it would be like. Everything's so fast and scary, and it just put things into perspective for me,
What did it teach you about nerves, anxiety, fear?
Taught me about it. It taught me what it really is. Like, I'd had anxiety before, but didn't really understand it, and feeling it to where I could kind of isolate it and make it understand, oh, this is why I feel this way. This is what these feelings are. And it made me understand that also that it's not a thing that is going to go away. Anxiety, fear, doubt, it doesn't go away. It doesn't get better, you get better. You get better, you have to work to develop the coping mechanisms to perform in whatever situation that life throws at you. And that's the biggest thing I've been able to take into life. It's not going to get easy. Troubles are not going to go away. Hard times are not going to go away. Fear, anxiety is not going to go away. Pain, sorrow is not going to go away. You have to make an effort, and a real effort, to sharpen your mind and develop the coping mechanisms and abilities and emotional and mental capacity to deal with these things. And that's what I got from MMA competition.
Dude, okay. I'm gonna go a little far off track, and then we're gonna come back to on track because we're talking about anxiety. You, as a gym owner and coach of hundreds of men, how many people do you think, or what's the percentage of men and women that have that anxiety, have that fear, that walk into your gym? How many of them do you see change and progress and better?
That is one of the most rewarding parts of this. Right, from people that are just looking to come and have some fun to people who you think are stone cold killers fighting. They all deal with that on some level. All of us. Even if it doesn't expose itself in the beginning, if we spend enough time together here, it's gonna expose itself. And the people that stick around, we work through it. It's amazing. I'd say what's gonna happen with this, I don't know about like what percentage like work through it, but I'd say the majority of people that try this stuff quit for whatever reason in life. But I'd say the percentage of people that do make it to where they're hitting the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 year mark, the difference in how they can deal with and cope with stress and anxiety and things like that is unbelievable.
I agree.
It's dynamic problem solving in the most stressful situation possible.
Dude, that's really cool.
That's all this is.
It's cool that you give that. Like, you can help give the people the tools.
It's the most rewarding part of this job. It's by far the most rewarding part of this job. We've helped people overcome. I mean, we're talking like potential suicide, shit like that. We've helped people overcome addiction, like serious addiction, abusive backgrounds, things like that. We've helped people become better people in those situations, and there has been nothing more rewarding in my life that I've experienced. It's powerful.
Do you think it's the majority of, I don't want to get too off topic, but do you think it's the majority of the atmosphere of people working together, everybody's trying to better themselves and each other? Is that?
I think that's definitely a big part of it. Just a community.
Yeah.
A community and culture that you can feel comfortable being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right? We're all going to be vulnerable here. And I think it's important for that community to be able to see those juniors, to be able to see even these senior students that to me seem like fucking infallible, like they could just do it, they could treat me like a small child. I can go and see them be treated like a small child, and they're okay with it, and it lets you be okay being vulnerable. Until we are okay being vulnerable and looking at our deficiencies and our flaws and our shortcomings in the face and face them, it's hard to hit the next level in our life, But being around people that you can feel comfortable being vulnerable is huge, and I think that's a big part of that side of it is the big part of the community thing.
Dude, that's amazing. I love that. We're gonna come back to that. You're fighting pro MMA. When did you make that switch from student to teacher?
So this wasn't intentional, right? At first, I was just competing, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the best fighter in the world, but I need to make money.
Yeah.
So I had an opportunity way early on, in my opinion, a little too early, but it worked out. Like when I was a blue belt, I had offered a job to teach, and I was also teaching fitness stuff just to earn some money. Well, that kind of progressed more and more and more, and eventually it became obvious with our current environment down here. At the time, it's different now, that for me to stay here and reach the goals that I wanted would be tough, so I had to make a decision to either go somewhere else to try to reach those goals or make a shift in my goals. And I, for several reasons, decided to shift my goals and take this path. And it was, looking back in hindsight, now that I've had the gym for over 10 years and I've been teaching for probably around 14 or 15 years, probably 13 or 14 years, there was no other path for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Accidentally, though, it really was. It was never my intention to be like a career teacher or coach or gym owner. Hey, y'all, can y'all lower y'all voices a little bit?
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So that must have been a challenge in itself. I mean, that's probably fucking scary, opening your own gym.
Oh, yeah. I'd worked at a few gyms and like an hour away, half hour away, then locally, just where I was teaching at different gyms throughout the week. And then I had read a couple books, listened to a couple people speak in the business, and something clicked one day that it really was one day. I was like at the gym that I was at, and I was like, all right, let me figure out how to make this place better, and I was like racking my brain, and then it was like lightning struck to where I just put the pen down and was like, I'm just gonna open a gym. I'm gonna do this for myself. And the very next day, I woke up and went in and was like, hey, I want to buy this place, or I'm opening a place of my own. And then within 9 months, I opened Mid-City MMA. Yeah, so it was a very stressful time, a lot of adversity, a lot of obstacles. And without my family and my friends and my support group, it would have never been possible. But without, and this is important to me, is what I try to get across to everyone that I help with anything. If it wasn't for that adversity and those hard times and those obstacles, I would not have the tools to do what I do today.
Wow.
If I would have had an easy path then,
Wow.
and didn't have to go through the things I went through, I would be helpless right now. Those times prepared me for what I'm doing now. It's easy.
Yeah.
Everything's easy now. Like, it's even the problem. I could say we always have problems, always have issues. Whether it's from business side of things, whether it's from the instruction, it can be an instructor, or even coaching athletes from amateur to high level, best in the world. We're always gonna have problems, but because of those times that I've had, I feel like I'm just swimming along. Like I feel calm, collected, and I can deal with it.
You have the tools, man, to fucking take any obstacle that life. That was, do you think, one of the major things that shaped who you are right now as a person? Now, I love asking this question. What would you tell yourself if you could go back, if anything, to that moment of like the hardest time that you were like where am I? What's going on?
What could I tell myself? Just keep believing. Keep believing. Persistence. That's everything. Persistence is everything. And in the moment, it was hard. It really was. I had lots of times where I lost hope, and that's all I could say is that if I could have gone back and told myself anything, is that just keep believing and stay persistent. That's one of the most important things we can do in life. Persistence is the secret to success. I truly believe that. It's one of the biggest lessons I got from my mother is persistence. So yeah, I would say that if I could go back and just say, deal with it, keep believing, stay persistent.
What was the light at the end of the tunnel at that moment? Like, what was did you see this?
Yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah. So I read a couple books and a couple like really important ones. There's one in particular that just changed my life. I don't know if I can say it or whatever.
Yeah, go ahead.
Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. It changed my life. It really did. It's a great book. But persistence is one of the lessons in it. But once I read that book, everything kind of made sense. And it was I'd say the 9 months that I spent from the time that I told that my old gym, like, hey, I'm gonna buy this place or open a new one, and then we were kind of out of a place to train. Those 9 months until we found this building, because once we found the building, and found everything, blah blah blah. We had some challenges between that time and today, but it really was those 9 months to find it. How am I going to afford this? What am I going to do? How do I even open a gym? How do I find a location? That was the hardest fucking time of my life. And I'd say the light of the tunnel was so true. It's so true. You have so many people that they dig for gold and they stop within there when they're within feet of it. Then somebody else comes and has to dig a few feet and they get that gold. I'm telling you, it's so crazy. We were at the end of our rope, 9 months in, can't find a place. I've seen over 50 properties. Nothing's working out. The place we were training at the time had told us, like, y'all can't really, like, because we were like Ronins or whatever, y'all can't really train here anymore. It was that day where I'm like, I'm going to have to fucking go work offshore.
Wow.
I'm going to, like, this is it. I don't know what I'm going to do.
You're gonna have to do something.
Dude, I got home and my mom called me like, hey, have you seen this place? And it was here. It was that day. I left from the place we were training.
Man?
It's unbelievable. Beautiful. It's unbelievable. And it really was. It was like when it was the darkest of dark. You know, the end of this is it. Like
moms, man.
And then boom, the light at the end of the tunnel happened.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, my mother is an amazing woman.
It's amazing. I didn't know that. I didn't know that story. So that's beautiful.
Yeah. So I'd say that was the light at the end of the tunnel. That phone call, and then we like. And it was like everything was fighting uphill so hard. And when we walked in here, even from the dealing with all the real estate agents were so rude and like, so like a new business, this young kid, blah, blah, blah. Even dealing with the person that like was dealing with us was so much better. And it was just like from that day, everything was downhill.
Hey, no words. I can't say anything. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Persistence. Keep fighting.
Yeah.
Believe in what,
We're all gonna run into temporary defeat, and this is in that book. Like we're all gonna run into it. Temporary defeat is inevitable. Failure is when you give up in the face of temporary defeat. Persistence is what turns temporary defeat into lessons that will guide you to success. That is the secret. Persistence is the secret.
And also at that point, I'm pretty sure you knew you had something inside. It wasn't like a money grab or anything. Like you knew, hey, I have something I can offer.
Yeah.
And I just need a platform.
Yeah, I don't know what that part I don't understand. I don't know what was in me or made me believe, but I believed it 100%. Even younger, before I found like martial arts, I just knew one day I was gonna own a business and help people. I had no idea why. I was talking about this the other day. I have no idea what happened in my life to make me just absolutely know this and believe it, that one day I'm going to own a business and I'm going to help people. And I don't know. It happened. But I believed it.
I'm glad you did it, man. You opened the gym, you're training, you eventually start. Your business is fighting. Your business is looking into people's eyes, reading people's body language, making their weaknesses strengths, all these things. How can you explain a little bit about that? Like, so
that gets a little challenging because and that's I think a part of being a coach, but especially in a sport like this, everyone's been through their life and gone through different things, and they have their weaknesses and have their strengths, and maybe it's not the easiest thing to expose those weaknesses, especially. So there's been like a skill that I've developed that I think every coach has to develop, of reading a person, and you can only read them when they're in those tough times. That's why it's so important to train hard and have hard sessions and have difficult thinking sessions and have difficult competition and compete a lot, because we don't know the truth about ourselves and the truth about each other until we're in the face of struggle, until we're in the face of adversity, till we're in pain, till we're tired, till we're sad, till we're let down. That's when the real character of a person and ourselves comes to light. So I'd say that's, what I could say about that skill is we have to struggle. I always love to say we have to suffer. We have to suffer together so we can see what it is that we have to work on. When everything's nice and great, it's hard to really know who we are.
That's true.
I
don't know how to follow up on that. It's so much good stuff. I want to pinpoint on suffering though, because we're at that right now. This is what we're talking about. But I don't know what to ask you. Like, what have you experienced? What have you witnessed in those moments? Like, I'm pretty sure you cornered at high level fighters. You've cornered in UFC fights, one FC champions, or was it one championship? What would you say about that? Like, what would you
about the struggle?
Yeah, suffering, struggle, anxiety. When people are at their lowest, but they perform at their best, or like, what can people learn from that, or what have you witnessed?
I'd say, I don't know.
It's a hard one, huh?
Yeah. So
where do people
I'll
go
say
to
this.
dig? Like, where do they find it? Like,
so okay. As far as that goes, the pain of losing one championship. 'Cause I've seen people lose the biggest fights, in front of me. My students, or I've been in the building and blah, blah, I've seen people lose the biggest competitions of their life, some of the biggest competitions in the world, right? And I see what that pain is, and I know what it, and I see that. It's the same fucking pain that someone feels when they lose their amateur debut.
wow.
Suffering is suffering, right? And I think that's important. Not making something bigger than it is.
Yeah.
Loss is loss, suffering is suffering, pain is pain.
That's how you deal with it,
right? So getting that out the way early. Tan, for example, my student Tan, I've seen him lose the biggest fights, the biggest fight of his life, right? And it broke him, it tore him apart. It's gonna make him, that man is an unbelievable man. It's gonna make him even stronger than he was, if that's even possible, right? But I've also seen him lose fights that were not, it was, first pro fight, nothing, blah, blah, blah. He's just as fucking devastated. He's just as devastated. So I'd say that. Understand that you can make something bigger than it is.
Okay.
Right? You can make it whatever you want. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the same. The people that love you still love you. Right? So don't make it more than it is. Suffer. If you're trying to do something great, start out small. Start in your, if we're talking about a fighter, your amateur, blah, blah, blah. And remember that pain that you feel when you lose, when you go through adversity, and understand that's the downside. That's it. That's okay. I can deal with that. Then if I could deal with it as a low level, doesn't matter anything fight, it's going to be the same when I lose the biggest fight in the world. So if anything holds you back, don't let that be it. Don't let that be it. Because we have a choice to make when we put ourselves out there and come up short. Yeah. We're all going to come up short. When we put ourselves out there, we really want something. I really want this. And I come up short, it's terrible. It's devastating, right? And we have a choice. Am I going to now not put myself out there anymore, so if I lose, it's not a big deal? Yeah. Or am I going to realize, that's it. Okay, this was devastating. This sucked, but that's it. I can now keep putting myself out there because I can deal with this. I can do this. And the happiness and joy I feel from accomplishing my goals trumps this. So I'd say that suffering you feel is it is what you make it. You know what I mean? So don't let that be the thing to deter you. And that's why it's important. That's why we have to suffer. We have to suffer so we can realize how powerful we are.
Dwell on it for long. Learn from it. If you let it become forever, it becomes forever. If you let it become a short...
Don't let it be more powerful than it is. Let it motivate you.
Dude, that's a fucking great explanation. Good job. Hey, we're getting good shit. Shawn, I'm loving it, man. Deep stuff, bro. Alright. What are we at? 11 minutes. The other one was 14, so we're getting close to 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
Okay. I wanted to see my angle. Alright, we are at suffering. Now, on the other side, and this is what I'm interested in too personally, and I can't wait for you to kind of dig deep into this. What's the mistake of when people have success, and how did you notice people deal with success healthy? Or
man, that's so we talk about this a lot. Like, any stimulus can impact you negatively. Just like we talked about how coming up short and negative stimulus can either drive you to be great or make you, expose you as a quitter.
Yeah.
Right? Positive stimulus can have the same negative effect. Right? You want to don't dwell too much on your wins or your losses. Some of the worst things I've had, that, for example, I've seen this and it sucks. You have a amateur fighter having their debut, right? Maybe they, and this happens more often than it should. No training anywhere, self-trained, right? They're not very good. They don't know that yet because they don't know. There are too many unknowns. They don't know what they don't know yet.
Yeah.
The worst thing that happens to them, I've seen it happen a few times, they go out and knock a guy out immediately. And that success ruins them.
Yeah.
They're like, it just like compounds their mind that, oh, well, I'm good. I don't need to go to a legitimate place or go get real help. I'm a natural, right? And then that success impacts them so negatively that their career plummets and never even takes off, wow. Right? But that even happens at a much higher level. That's just a good baseline place to look at it. You even see, as you coach, and this is a rough part of the game, but coachability is huge, right? And you have someone come in and they're good, they're coachable, whatever, and then as soon as they start to have success, they become less coachable, right? For many reasons, possibly, but and it's just you'll never reach your full potential with that, right? As soon as you start letting your success like get you to where you can't think that you can grow anymore or be coached anymore, it's just as bad as someone having like coming up short and letting that downside of things make them a quitter. It's just as bad, right? So I think it's very important, and this is in life with everything. Don't read too much into your successes or your failures. Have your confidence. Know what you can do. Put we all a cookie jar. Like you have your cookie jar moments. Whenever you're in a dark time, you have your cookie jar of stuff that you could pull out and be like, oh yeah, I did this. I can do this. Oh yeah, I did that. I can do that. Those cookie jar moments are very important. But put them in the cookie jar and continue to grow, continue to get better. You know what I mean? Because both negative and positive stimulus can affect you negatively and positively.
Dude, that's some good stuff, man. Okay. Now, what would you tell? What's something you've always wanted to say, but never had either a moment to say it or the time didn't come up? Like if you were just to talk into the microphone and say something you've observed or learned or anything on your journey, if you had to summarize something, or if you had to say, let me put it this way. My bad. And put it this way: you're having a kid on the way, right?
Yeah.
And I hope, and this is one of the reasons I do these things, is we leave virtual footprints, and your kid's going to see you at your age right now, talking and sharing. What would you say to your kid, your son or daughter? It's a lot, man. I know.
That's heavy.
What would you tell them you're experiencing now in your moment, so that way when they look back?
I'd say what I said earlier, to not keep beating the drum, but you can do whatever you want to do. If anyone can, this is what I want to say. If anyone can do it, you can do it. You have to understand that. Never think anything different. Has someone done this? Then I can do it. And even beyond that, just because someone hasn't done it doesn't mean you can't do it. But for sure, if someone has done it, you can do it. Don't ever think, anything other than that. But all you need is that persistence. Be persistent, right? In every aspect of life, be persistent. Set goals. Give yourself a deadline. Write it down. Read it every day. Tell people. Put yourself on the spot, right? Make a plan and be persistent. You can do it. You can do anything. The only thing in your way is you. Yeah. A lot of times in life, all we have to do is get out of our own way, right? More often than not, failures happen because someone chooses that failure. They choose to be in their own way, right? So I would say that.
It's a lot.
Have a goal. Reach big. Think big. Be unrealistic with your goal. Be unrealistic, right? Write that shit down. Put a date on it. Tell some people. Have a plan and be persistent. You can do it. That got me a little emotional.
I know, man. I know. That's why I love doing this stuff, man. Like, it's deep. It's deep stuff. Yeah, man. I really wanted to really dig deep. I mean, you've covered it. You covered a lot, man.
What was your motivation to start doing this?
Virtual footprints. So I personally, we're not promised tomorrow. So I really try my best to achieve as much as I can in a day. Mm-hmm. Like, I woke up today, 6 o'clock, went to the gym, went to work, shower, breakfast, went to work, finished my work. Weather was great. Fucking went flying, landed, jiu-jitsu. Dude, that's a whole day, not wasted. So yeah, I want to leave messages, but I want to talk to people that have experienced things. And I think you've lived different, not characters, but different lifestyle, not even lifestyles, like, you know what I'm trying to say?
No, yeah, I have.
You've experienced so many different things.
I have.
So people like that, I think they really understand, and they can communicate what they've experienced and then share it. And it's very interesting because the more people I see that have experienced things and come out of it, they're willing to share that wealth. And
it's important. It's important to share. I think people that, like I said, I come from very humble beginnings, very, no money, tough times, and just with support and family and self-belief and persistence. Like, it's important for people that are in that right now, that are in that mud right now, to see people that
it's possible.
You can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing special about me. I don't have a college degree. I wasn't a great straight A student or anything like that. There's nothing special about me at all. It's all self-belief, persistence, having a goal, making a plan, and believing in yourself. As cliche as it sounds, it really is it. And seeking out, I'd say another thing, seeking out a group, the right group, a tribe that can support you, that can help you. A mastermind group, it's another thing from that book that I read. Like, I don't have to know everything.
Yes.
I can't know everything. But I could surround myself with people that what I don't know, they know. What they don't know, I know.
And they're doing things on their end, and everybody's sharing.
We're all one mind. We're all one mind working towards a common goal. That's very important.
That's what I've also, one part of this is the definition of wealth. I think a lot of people confuse what wealth is. A lot of people think material wealth. Mm-hmm. But this right here is wealth, and it's being shared. Mm-hmm. It's very valuable.
Absolutely.
Within itself, and that information can be used to bring other value to other people when they use it the way they want to use it. And that's another reason I do this. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, some deep shit. I don't know. I don't know what else. Like, if you have something, man, introduce it, because I don't want to hold the conversation back of what I know about you. And also, I know you're the type of person that doesn't like talking, too much about himself. But if there's anything that you've accomplished or witnessed or experienced that you would like to share, because I've
been lucky enough to be around some pretty special people, but there's someone in particular that I'll talk about that I think we could all learn from, and maybe you plan on interviewing him, but I'll say if you're listening to this and you don't know who Tan Le is, go find out who Tan Le is, and being around him makes me a better person, and seeing what he's gone through from being his coach and his friend, and he's like family to me from day one of his career to the highest that you can get in this journey that we're on. To see what he has put forth to earn that has been special. And what I've learned from him is, if you really want something, it needs to be like, your career needs to be like, no one Like, it can't be more important to anyone else but you. If you want something, it needs to be the most important thing to you. You need to be obsessed with it. You can do it, but you need to be obsessed with it. You need to deal with the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So I'll really just say, like, having someone around me, and they understand this, like, if anyone's listening, like, this is like my student. This is not like someone who, like, I came up under. This is a student of mine who is now turned into a mentor of mine.
It's amazing.
Like, so on the other end of that, also realize that, stay humble. Like, my student is now one of my greatest teachers.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I'd say that, like,
there's different levels, and
Yeah.
it just keeps evolving.
if you just keep an open mind, stay humble, like, there's so much you can learn from everyone around you. You never know, like, who could be the greatest teacher in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you agree the fact that keeping it simple, defining what happiness to you is, all these things make it easier to just go on with your day rather than, because what made me think of that is being humble, accepting your surrounding, and letting it grow organically rather than you saying, this is the direction I want to take it.
Yeah.
No, sometimes it goes this direction. You're like, okay, well, let's see how this works out. And it kind of happens.
The ability to adapt is the ability to succeed in any situation. I think it's important to have a goal and have a plan, but you had better be able to adapt, right? Let it grow organically. Let it shape you. Let it take shape. Right, be open-minded, be humble, realize we can't have control of everything.
Yeah.
Like, have a goal, have a plan. If you don't have the ability to adapt, you're going to have a damn hard time finding the ability to succeed.
Yeah. Dude, what do you define as your happiness? And this is for your future generation. What do you define that you found as happiness?
For me, it's helping people around me, right? And it's almost feels selfish, you know what I mean? It's a really weird thing, because, like, I love helping the people around me, helping my family, helping my wife, helping everyone, but it feels selfish because I'm doing it because it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird situation for me, but my happiness is being able to, be comfortable. Like, I don't need to be rich or have extravagant things or whatnot. Those things are nice. Those things are great to have, of course, but it's not going to make you happy. Those things, having money, can only solve the problems that not having money creates.
Yeah.
Right? That's all that can do. For me, happiness is being able to know my family is safe and happy and fed, and know that I am helping people that I care about and that they know that I'm there for them. That's happiness for me.
And you're doing it genuinely because you want to. I love that.
It makes that. I have anxiety, I have depression, blah blah blah, like things that everybody have and whatnot. But, like, for me, that is the best medicine for it, is that happiness, knowing that my friends, my family, my students are taken care of, and they know that I love them, and they know that I'm here to help them.
You're a rich man, Shawn.
Yeah.
You're a rich man.
I feel like it.
It's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know how better to end it. Like,
Think that's it.
thank you, man.
I
It's
appreciate
amazing.
it. Thank you.
All right.